We've all been there. You walk into a Ross dress for less, and within 30 seconds, you're hit with that specific sensory overload. The fluorescent lights are a little too bright. There's a stray sneaker sitting on top of a pile of cookware, and the checkout line is already snaking past the luggage section. It feels like a chaotic scavenger hunt where the odds are stacked against you, and honestly, most people just grab a random candle or a pack of socks and get out as fast as they can. But what if I told you that the reason you're walking away frustrated or worse, paying way more than you should, is that you're playing the game by their rules instead of yours? If you're shopping at Ross the same way you shop at a normal department store, you're leaving some of the biggest deals of your life on the table. We're talking name brand sneakers for less than the price of a fast food meal and designer skincare for literal pennies. There is a method to the madness, a literal internal calendar that the employees follow, and if you don't know those dates, you're just picking through the leftovers. So, seriously, stop what you're doing and don't spend another dime at Ross until you hear this. By the end of this video, you're going to be the person everyone is staring at in the parking lot, wondering how you just walked out with 3 overflowing bags for under $50. If you want to master the art of the bargain and never pay full price again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we're pulling back the curtain on the secrets these big retailers hope you never find out. First, let us talk about the single most important thing you need to know before you even pull into the parking lot: the timing. Most people treat Ross like a weekend activity. You have some free time on a Saturday afternoon, you're bored, and you decide to go treasure hunting. That is your first mistake. Saturday at Ross is where deals go to die. By the time the weekend rolls around, the shelves have been picked over by thousands of people, the store is a disaster zone, and anything truly valuable is already long gone. If you want the real heat, you have to be there when the markdowns actually happen. The secret day you need to circle on your calendar is Monday. Across the country, Monday is generally markdown day at Ross. While the rest of the world is mourning the start of the work week, the employees at your local Ross are walking around with those little handheld printers, slapping new, lower-priced tags on thousands of items. If you show up on a Monday evening or early Tuesday morning, you are seeing prices that haven't even been touched by the general public yet. This is especially true for the clearance sections. If you've ever seen those legendary TikToks of people finding items for 49 cents and wondered why you only ever see stuff for $12.99, it's because those 49-cent tags usually drop on Mondays. Speaking of Tuesdays, there is a specific hack that a lot of people overlook because they think it doesn't apply to them. It's the Every Tuesday Club. Now, officially, this is a 10% discount for shoppers who are 55 or older. If you fit that description, you need to be signing up at the customer service desk immediately, because that's an extra 10% off already bottom barrel prices. But even if you're in your 20s, Tuesday is still your best friend.
Why?
Because the stores are usually the cleanest they'll be all week right after the Monday markdowns, and because the senior discount brings in a specific crowd, the stores tend to be fully staffed and well-stocked to handle it. If you have a parent or grandparent who loves a good deal, make it a weekly tradition to go with them. Not only do they get the discount, but you get a second pair of eyes to help you find those hidden gems in the shoe aisle. But wait, we need to go deeper than just the day of the week. To truly win at Ross, you have to understand the language of the price tag. Have you ever noticed how some tags have a compare at price? A lot of shoppers see that and think, wow, this shirt is $10, but it's normally $40 at Macy's. While Ross does offer genuine savings, you have to take those comparison prices with a grain of salt. Sometimes those compare at numbers are based on the highest possible MSRP from years ago, or they're comparing the item to a similar high-end brand rather than the exact same product. The real secret isn't the comparison price, it's the color of the tag itself. Most of what you see will have a standard white tag, but the real gold is hidden on the items with the pink tags. Pink means clearance. When you see a pink tag, that item has already failed to sell at its initial Ross price and is now on a one-way trip to the 49-cent bin. But here is the pro tip. Look at the dates and the layers of stickers. If you see a pink tag that's been covered by another pink tag, that means the price is dropping rapidly. If an item has been sitting there for a few weeks, the system will automatically flag it for another markdown. I've seen people find high-end strollers or designer handbags that started at $150, dropped to $80, then $40, and finally $10 just because they were tucked away in a corner where nobody saw them. This brings me to the most controversial part of the Ross experience, the treasure hunt philosophy. Ross doesn't spend money on fancy displays or mannequins because that keeps their overhead low, which keeps your prices low. But this means the best stuff is often hidden where it doesn't belong. I cannot tell you how many times I've found a pair of Nike Air Jordans sitting in the men's size 13 section when they were actually a size 10, or a high-end Clinique moisturizer hidden behind some generic body wash. People get lazy, they change their minds, and they dump items wherever they are. If you're serious about saving money, you have to be willing to look through the racks that aren't your size. You have to look behind the front row of products on the shelves. The mess is actually your greatest ally because most shoppers are too tired to dig through it. Before we move on to the specific brands you should be hunting for and the regular item trap, I want to remind you that if you're finding these tips helpful, make sure to share this video with that one friend who is always complaining about their clothing budget. We're about to get into the nitty-gritty of the 49-cent sale, which is the Super Bowl of discount shopping, so you definitely don't want to miss what's coming up next. The 49-cent sale is a phenomenon that happens twice a year, usually in late January and sometimes in July. This is when Ross clears out their massive end-of-season inventory to make room for new shipments. We're talking about thousands of items, everything from holiday decor to winter coats to electronics being marked down to just 49 cents. In 2025, the buzz around this sale has reached an all-time high. People literally camp out or wait by the doors on Monday mornings in late January just to be the first ones to grab those pink tags. But here's the reality check. Not everything goes to 49 cents. The store isn't just going to give away a brand new Samsonite suitcase for $2. The 49-cent price point is for items that have reached the end of their life cycle in the store's inventory system. If you want to score during this sale, you need to look for seasonal items. Think Christmas lights in January or summer sandals in late July. One thing you'll notice as you start becoming a Ross Pro is that the inventory varies wildly from one location to another. This isn't like Target where every store carries the same basic stuff. Ross relies on opportunistic buying, which is a fancy way of saying they buy whatever other stores couldn't sell. If a high-end department store in a fancy part of town has a surplus of designer jeans, those might end up at the Ross 5 miles away. This means that location scouting is a real thing. If you live near an affluent area, go to the Ross stores in that neighborhood. You are much more likely to find luxury beauty brands, high-end kitchen gadgets, and premium athletic wear there than you are at a store in a more industrial or lower-income area. It's the same company, but the spoils are distributed based on what's available in the local supply chain. Now, before you go charging into your local store, there's one more thing we have to talk about in this first part: the irregular sticker. You've probably seen they're little white stickers that say irregular or ASIS. A lot of people see those and run the other way, thinking the item is broken or ruined. But in the world of Ross, irregular can mean something as simple as a tiny stitch that's south out of place on the inside of a shirt or a logo that's a fraction of an inch off center. These items are often marked down even further than the standard Ross price. If you're willing to inspect the item, check the seams, make sure the zippers work, look for any actual holes, you can find perfectly imperfect clothes for a fraction of what even Ross usually charges. Now that we've mastered the timing and the secret language of the price tags, we have to talk about what you're actually putting in your cart. There is a massive misconception that everything inside a Ross is just a leftover from a fancy department store like Nordstrom or Macy's. While that used to be the core of their business model, the retail world in 2025 has changed. Today, many big-name brands actually manufacture lines specifically for off-price retailers. This means that even though you see a familiar logo, the quality might not be exactly what you'd get at the flagship store. You have to be a bit of a detective here. Look at the materials. Is that leather jacket actually 100% leather, or is it a synthetic blend made to look like the real thing? If you see a brand name shirt that feels a little thinner than usual, it's likely a made-for-us item. It's still a good deal, but don't walk away thinking you just pulled a fast one on a $200 designer piece. First, let us dive into the absolute best section to raid if you want high-end quality without the Medefra outlet compromise, the beauty and skincare aisle. This is where Ross truly shines, but it's also the most dangerous area for your wallet and your skin. You can find brands like Estee Lauder, Clinique, Peter Thomas Roth, and even high-end beauty brands sitting right there next to the $2 hand soaps. The trick here is the open box rule. We've all seen it. Someone couldn't resist opening a bottle of expensive moisturizer to smell it. Or worse, they tested a lipstick right on the shelf. In 2025, Ross has gotten stricter with their plastic wrapping, but things still slip through. Never, and I mean never, buy a beauty product at Ross without checking if the safety seal is intact. If it's been opened, it's not just gross, the active ingredients have likely started to degrade. But if you find a sealed box of a luxury night cream that usually retails for $80 and Ross has it for $19.99, that is a massive win that pays for your entire trip. Second, you have to look at the expiration dates. Unlike a dedicated beauty store, Ross doesn't always have a rigorous system for rotating their skincare stock based on USB dates. Use your phone to look up batch codes. There are plenty of free websites where you can type in the code on the bottom of a bottle of perfume or a tube of sunblock to see exactly when it was manufactured. If that designer perfume was made 4 years ago, the scent has probably shifted or faded. However, if it's from last season, you've just scored a luxury item for a third of the price. If you're enjoying these insider secrets so far, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the video reach more people who are tired of overpaying for the basics, and it lets me know you want more content like this. Third, let us talk about the shoe department. This is usually the most chaotic part of the store, but it's also where the highest profit margins live for savvy resellers and bargain hunters alike. Have you ever noticed how some shoes are in boxes and others are just tied together with a plastic zip tie? The ones in the boxes are usually the fresher inventory. But the real secret is the mismatched shoe bin. Sometimes, a size 9 right shoe gets paired with a size 10 left shoe by accident. When this happens, the store can't sell them at the normal price. If you find a pair you love and notice they're slightly different sizes or have a minor scuff, take them to the manager. Often, they have the authority to give you an additional 10% to 20% off on the spot just to move the damaged merchandise out of the store. Another thing to keep an eye on in the shoe section is the purple tag phenomenon. While pink is the universal sign for clearance, some Ross locations use specific colors for high-end boutique brands. If you see a pair of shoes tucked away with a different colored tag or a boutique label, those are often the items that came from high-end boutiques that went out of business or had too much overstock. These aren't the mass-produced Nikes you see every day, these are the genuine luxury finds. But be warned, the people who work at Ross know these are valuable, and they often get snapped up within minutes of being put on the floor. This is why knowing the truck schedule is your secret weapon. Most people think the markdown day on Monday is when the new stuff arrives, but that is not usually the case. Markdowns are for the old stuff. New inventory usually arrives on truck days, which vary by location but typically happen 2 to 3 times a week, often on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you really want to be a pro, just ask an employee. Most of them are happy to tell you, "Oh, our big shipment usually comes in on Wednesday mornings." If you show up on Wednesday at 10 a.m., you are literally seeing the best items before they've even had a chance to get dusty or misplaced by other shoppers. It's the closest thing to having a VIP pass to the store. Now, let us pivot to a section that almost everyone walks past but shouldn't, the gourmet food and kitchen aisle. Ross doesn't just sell clothes, they have a surprisingly high-end selection of specialty oils, organic snacks, and designer coffee syrups. In 2025, with grocery prices being what they are, the Ross food aisle has become a legitimate life hack. You can often find Himalayan pink salt, high-quality olive oils, and imported Italian pastas for half the price of a standard grocery store. And the kitchenware? Don't even get me started. brands like Viking, Cuisinart, and Pyrex show up all the time. If you're moving into a new place or just looking to upgrade your pans, don't go to a big box kitchen store first. Check Ross. I once found a cast iron skillet that retails for $60 sitting there for $15 because the box was slightly torn. The skillet was perfectly fine, but the damaged packaging meant a massive discount for me. While we're talking about the home section, we have to address the Ross versus TJ Maxx debate. A lot of people think they're the same, but there's a strategic difference. TJ Maxx and Marshalls tend to lean a bit more into the trendy and designer labels, which often means their base prices are slightly higher. Ross, on the other hand, is the king of the everyday essentials. If you need basic bath towels, bed sheets, or storage bins, Ross will almost always beat TJ Maxx on price. However, the quality can be hit or miss. When buying sheets at Ross, always look for the thread count and the material. Don't just trust the soft feel in the store. Many cheap polyester sheets are treated with a softening agent that washes off after one cycle, leaving you with scratchy fabric. Look for 100% cotton or bamboo. Even at Ross, these will be a few dollars more, but they'll last you years instead of months. And speaking of things that last, let us talk about the luggage section. This is one of the best-kept secrets for frequent travelers. High-end luggage brands like Samsonite, Swiss Gear, and American Tourister send their overstock to Ross constantly. If you go to a department store, you might pay $250 for a large hardshell suitcase. At Ross, that same suitcase, maybe in a color from last season, is often $69 or $79. The trick here is to check the wheels and zippers before you buy. Because these items are stacked high, they can sometimes take a beating in the store. But if it's structurally sound, you're getting a professional-grade piece of gear for the price of a generic, no-name bag from a big-box retailer. Before we move into the final part of our deep dive, where I'm going to tell you about the ghost markdowns and the absolute best way to handle returns so you never lose money, I want to ask you a quick question. What is the absolute best thing you've ever found at Ross? Was it a 49-cent designer shirt or a high-end kitchen gadget? Drop a comment below and let me know. I love reading your find stories, and it helps the rest of the community know what to look for. As we wrap up this part, remember that Ross is essentially a high-speed logistics company disguised as a clothing store. They move inventory faster than almost any other retailer in the country. This means that if you see something you love, you cannot think about it and come back tomorrow. It will be gone. The turnover rate is so high that the employees don't even bother putting things back in the right place half the time. This buy it now or lose it forever pressure is exactly what they want you to feel, but if you follow the tips we've covered so far, you'll know exactly when that pressure is justified and when you're being played. In the final part of this video, we're going to cover the return policy secrets that most people get wrong and the one specific area of the store you should actually avoid if you don't want to waste your money. Now that you know when to shop and what to look for, we have to talk about the final stage of the Ross experience, the checkout and the aftermath. This is where even the most seasoned bargain hunters trip up. You've spent an hour digging through the racks, your cart is full of steals, and you're feeling that rush of dopamine. But if you aren't careful at the register, you can accidentally undo all that hard work. First, let us talk about the ghost markdowns. Sometimes, an item has been marked down in the system, but the employee with the sticker gun hasn't physically reached it yet. This happens more often than you'd think, especially during those busy transition periods in early 2025. If you see an item that looks like it's been there for a while, maybe the tag is a bit faded or it's in a clearance bin but still has a white tag, ask the cashier to price check it. I have seen items scanned for $5 or $10 less than the price on the tag simply because the system updated overnight. It only takes 5 seconds to ask, and it can save you a significant chunk of change. Second, we need to address the Ross return policy because it is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the store. Ross is notoriously strict. You generally have 30 days to return an item with the original receipt and the tags attached. But here's the kicker. If you lose that receipt, you are at the mercy of the lowest selling price. If you bought a jacket for $40, but it went on clearance for $10 2 weeks later, and you try to return it without a receipt, they are only going to give you $10 back in store credit. Even worse, Ross tracks non-receipted returns using your ID to prevent fraud. If you do it too often, you could actually be flagged or barred from making returns. The pro tip here? Take a photo of your receipt the second you get to your car. Paper receipts fade or get lost in the bottom of a bag, but a digital photo is forever. Better yet, if you're a frequent shopper, keep a dedicated envelope in your glove box specifically for Ross receipts. It sounds a little extreme, shopper, but when you're dealing with a store that has such high inventory turnover, you need that paper trail to protect your money. Third, there is one specific section of the store I warned you about earlier, the area you should almost always avoid unless you're in a genuine emergency. That is the electronics and, as seen in TV, gadget section. While the kitchenware and clothes are great, the tech at Ross is often a gamble. We're talking about off-brand charging cables, headphones from companies you've never heard of, and smart gadgets that haven't been updated since 2021. In the world of 2025 tech, buying an outdated charging brick or a cheap lithium battery device can be a literal fire hazard or, at the very least, a waste of $15 when it stops working after 3 days. Unless you see a reputable name brand like Sony, JBL, or Belkin, it's usually better to keep walking. The same goes for those miracle cleaning tools or fitness gadgets. If it looks like it was designed for a late-night infomercial, there's a reason it ended up at Ross. Your money is much better spent in the home decor or athletic apparel sections where the quality is much easier to verify with your own eyes and hands. Speaking of athletic apparel, let's talk about the hidden high-end brands. Ross has a very interesting relationship with premium labels like Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas. Because these brands are so protective of their image, they often send their overstock to Ross with blind tags or in sections you wouldn't expect. Always check the active section, but also look at the generic racks nearby. Sometimes, a high-performance running jacket gets mixed in with the basic cotton hoodies. And here's a secret for the parents out there. The kids section is a goldmine for adult-sized shoes and clothes. If you wear a women's size 7 or 8, you can often fit into a big kid's size 5 or 6. The prices for the kids' versions of the exact same sneakers or branded leggings are usually 30% to 40% lower than the adult versions. It's the ultimate loophole that most people are too proud to use, but your bank account will thank you. Before we get to the final takeaway, I want to give you a quick Ross etiquette tip that actually helps you get better deals. It sounds counterintuitive, but being exceptionally nice to the employees can change your entire shopping experience. These people work incredibly hard in a high-stress environment, often dealing with some of the most difficult customers in retail. If you're the person who is polite, who doesn't leave a mess on the floor, and who strikes up a friendly conversation, the employees are much more likely to help you out. I've had employees tell me, "Hey, don't buy that rug today. It's getting marked down tomorrow morning." Or, "We just got a shipment of North Face jackets in the back that haven't hit the floor yet. Let me grab one for you." That kind of inside information is worth its weight in gold, and it costs you nothing but a little bit of kindness. If you've enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more retail secrets for other stores, make sure to subscribe and share this video. We're building a community of shoppers who are taking their power back from these big corporations. Now, to bring it all together, let us look at the golden rule of Ross shopping, the once-around method. When you walk into the store, don't start shopping immediately. Do one quick lap around the entire perimeter. Look at the end caps, check the new arrival racks near the fitting rooms, and glance at the clearance sections. This gives your brain a chance to calibrate to the current inventory and helps you spot the out-of-place gems before you get bogged down in the crowded aisles. Ross is designed to make you feel overwhelmed so that you'll make impulsive decisions. By doing a lap first, you're taking control of the environment. You're scanning for those pink tags, looking for the brands you know, and ignoring the noise. In 2025, the retail landscape is tougher than ever, and stores like Ross are becoming essential for staying within a budget. But remember, the goal isn't just to buy stuff because it's cheap. The goal is to get high-quality items for a price that makes sense for your life. Don't let this scavenger hunt trick you into buying things you don't need. Use the Monday markdown schedule, hunt for the pink tags, verify your beauty products with batch codes, and always keep your receipts. If you follow these steps, you'll never look at that dress for less sign the same way again. You won't just be a customer, you'll be a pro who knows how to navigate the chaos and come out on top. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps you save a ton of money on your next trip. If you found even one tip in this video useful, please hit that like button. It really does make a difference. And if you have your own Ross secrets that I didn't cover, leave them in the comments. I'm always looking to learn more from you guys. Until next time, happy hunting and stay savvy out there.